Today on Legends, we have Dr. Avery Browne, owner of Browne Medical and medical director of AFC Urgent Care, on Legends with Russell Thomas. So the music is actually So usually when I have a guest here, it's usually I work with them, you know, a little bit of knowledge. But this young man from the L Block, Dr. Avery Browne,
Linwood in the house.
That Linwood in the house, it's all good from the hood. Dr. Avery Browne, my running partner, my road dog. I'm his wingman. He keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah, big bro.
That's the man. Dr. Avery Browne, medical director of ASC Urgent Care. Welcome to Legends.
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to this.
Me too, my brother.
And normally, we would just be talking about boxing. But because of the stuff that we have going on today, I think we would start with about the pandemic.
Okay.
But before we do that, most time I get somebody to come in. I say, okay, give me a page bio. They give me the page. But when you're a doctor, you don't just get a bio. You get a CV. So starting from the basics, what is a CV?
It's a curriculum vitae, basically. That's what it stands for, and it's a just a chronological accounting, I guess, for your professional career and education.
Wow. So what I want to do is I want to talk about the pandemic and your things, but what I want to do is do, like in court, if I was doing radar, the judge asks me to qualify it. So I want you to qualify. I want you to start with your high school. We got to give them a shout out, and then just go through your educational background real quick.
Yeah, okay, well, you know, I graduated from Clifford J. Scott High School, Scotty Dogs, class 85.
Scotty Dogs, okay.
Class 85. From there, I went on to New Jersey Institute of Technology and majored in mechanical engineering.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Got that bachelor's degree, and then I went on and did some graduate work.
Hold on. So when you graduated from NJIT with mechanical engineering, we had a conversation. The only thing I remember was you telling me, yo, Kent, I'm going to medical school. And the only thing I could think about Adrian was saying, oh shit, I'm gonna know a doctor. I didn't hear nothing else after that. So go ahead, bro.
I went on, did some graduate work at NJIT as well in biomedical engineering, and did some research at, it was then called University of Medicine and Dentistry, and now it's called Rutgers, I believe. Then I went into medical school in New York College and graduated from there. Did a internship at St. Vincent's Midtown Hospital, New York City.
Are they still there?
No, actually it closed, but it was Midtown, right in the heart of Hell's Kitchen. Ecstasy just hit, and I learned a lot of stuff in my intern year, and that was probably the hardest I ever worked in my life.
Battlefield promotion?
Yeah.
Up until now, anyway.
Yeah, up to now.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I went on and completed residency, and then I did a sports medicine fellowship. And then I worked for years in the Montefiore medical system in the Bronx, New York. I just love the hood, man, you know. And we as well as I was an adjunct professor at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine.
Wow.
And after that stint, met with some folks, and we then I became the medical director of the AFC Urgent Cares. And we started with one in South Plainfield. Now we're up to 4. South Plainfield, West Orange, Cedar Grove, and down further south in Aberdeen, New Jersey.
I don't even know where Aberdeen is at, but I know it's down south somewhere.
Yeah, about exit 118 on the Parkway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So medical director of 4 different places. Are you only at one place, or do you matriculate or circulate?
Yeah, I rotate all 4 places. Mainly I concentrate in South Plainfield and West Orange office. But I rotate to the Cedar Grove as well as the Aberdeen office as well, and gotta keep my tentacles in everything.
Absolutely. When you're medical director, you sign off. You gotta know what's going on.
Yes, sir.
So the last time I had to make a quick trip up there to West Orange.
Yeah.
I got there about 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
There was people that was reading the newspaper from the day before that line was so long.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me. It's like the only gas station open after Hurricane Sandy.
Yes. And you should have been checking Social Security numbers out of even. That's how you got in there.
Yeah.
Oh wow. It's just I can't even imagine if you wouldn't have told me the things that you told me that you've gone through during the first wave.
Yes.
I wouldn't have believed it.
Yes.
And we're gonna go back a little further. We were talking about you were talking about Clifford Scott a little earlier.
Yeah.
We believe we have a friend that we grew up with that probably passed from the COVID.
More probably, it's strong likelihood. Yes.
But this was last year, and a group of us, you were unable because you were starting to get swamped.
Yes.
We went down to Maryland. It was basically about 12 of us, and looking back on it, we believe we were probably in the middle of the pandemic then, and then I look back at the conversations that we had.
Right.
And it's just amazing to me. You were telling me that your day would start as soon as you walked into whichever one of the locations you were at.
Yes.
And it would go nonstop.
Nonstop.
So the hardest part trying to figure out what they weren't telling you, because you basically have to be a detective.
In the beginning, yes, it was a hard thing on both ends. The excuse me. The medical community, it hit us by surprise. We didn't know what was coming. We didn't know what was going on. We were kind of ill prepared, and the leadership in the country made it even worse. And then, the resources weren't there, and folks tended to want to do things their way and not be upfront with you. For example, I was exposed early in March. At the time we didn't have enough PPEs, so we had a setup that we only used whatever PPEs that we had were for folks who we considered high risk. And at that time we didn't have any widespread testing. We barely had any testing. Only the health department had testing. So folks would come in, we would screen them. Have you been to China, Iran, France, Great Britain, all the places that were hotspots at the moment before we became a hotspot? And if you answer to those questions with yes, then you had to go home, quarantine, wait for the health department to screen you, to test you, to come to your house and test you. Folks didn't want that. They thought the magic pill was a Z-Pack. So I had 2 patients that came in. I saw them, took care of them. They had sinus upper respiratory issues, didn't think make a big deal of it. I get a call about 4 days later from the health department saying that both of them were admitted to the hospital with COVID, and you need to test your staff. And of course, I tested myself, came back positive. The thing about it was, although we had those questions, those 2 individuals, one was in Italy and one was in China. The one that gets me, the one in China, said she forgot that she was in China. That was her excuse for not telling us up front. And that's how things were. Folks were just not doing what they were supposed to do, and like you said, they weren't being honest about things, and that was made things difficult. Yeah.
And you had to be like, we have shows on TV like the First 48.
Yeah.
And so now you have to be a detective. You have to worry about everybody they came in contact with. Correct. Not to mention coming from Italy and China on the plane.
Correct.
So God knows. First of all, let me say thank you. Because you're a true first responder.
Thanks, man.
Because I know you was working hard. Sometimes I get that late night text. I'm like, yo, you all right? You be like, man, it's a struggle.
I appreciate those texts and those shout outs, man.
Yo, listen,
it keeps you moving.
We definitely had to live through that.
Yeah.
So now we know that the second wave is upon us.
Correct.
Are you fearful of people just not following the original protocols? Or are you fearful of maybe a different, because it seems like the virus is evolving. Are you more worried about it evolving?
No, I think the virus is evolving, but not in a way that nothing that we don't know about it. The thing is, what we know work, folks aren't with it. And I understand there's a certain thing as quarantine and lockdown fatigue. I understand that you want to get back to your life and that sort of thing, but we're just not there yet. And some folks are not complying. Some folks are just, listening to the leaders of the country that are not bringing things out the correct way, disrespecting the scientists and disrespecting the sciences. And I think that is the issue that we're facing right now. Because as you know, we could take New Jersey as an example. New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, we had a coordinated effort to lock down, shut down, and get this thing under control. And for the most part, it worked. It worked. It flattened the curve. Things went good, and we started to open slowly back up. But then, the rest of the country must have thought it was over, although everyone was screaming that it's not. And as you saw, and we were predicting the fall is going to come back. It's going to come back a second wave, and that's exactly what happened. But in these areas, the numbers, I believe, shouldn't be that high if we comply with the mandate of wearing a mask, 6 feet social distancing, avoiding large crowds. And that didn't happen. And this thing is very rapidly contagious. That all you need is a slight opening in your defense of preventing the spread, and we're back to where we are today.
Wow, it's a shame. And even now in Newark, the mayor has pretty much instituted a lockdown.
Yeah.
And we found that one of our favorite restaurants, they're not cutting us a check, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Yeah.
Forno's.
Absolutely.
And just not Forno's, but in the East Ward, they had a outbreak.
Yeah.
And now that just pretty much spread again.
Yeah, I think they had like a 25% increase.
Yes.
In that whole part of the city, yes.
Now, there was a time when AFC Urgent Care was one of the only spots that was testing for COVID.
Yeah, we were doing spot testing, and quite frankly, during the pandemic, we were one of the few places that were still open treating patients. And it became a challenge. In the emergency rooms, we're turning folks away. They was coming to us. And our staff is strong, good medical assistants. I have good X-ray techs, good managers, and we weathered the storm, and it was rough. Let me give you an example. Give me a little perspective.
Yes.
I was in New York City and working in the emergency room downtown at 9/11, the blackout, swine flu, bird flu. This here in April and March, it scared me. I was scared going to work every day.
For real.
I didn't care about all the other didn't faze me, but this one worried me. I was seeing a 12-hour shift take about 18 techs X-ray. 12 of them had bilateral pneumonic. Folks were having problems breathing.
Now, bilateral pneumonia is in both lungs, right?
Yeah. And there were some really sick people, and I didn't have to say, "Here's the medicine, push it. Here's the pill, take it." You just had to take each individual and have strong follow-up. Some had to be admitted to the hospital, put on ventilators. Some you just had to take care of. And the older they were, the more difficult and challenging it was.
With underlying conditions?
Underlying conditions, yes.
And now, is asthma considered an underlying condition? Or?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. And you have to diagnose. So a typical day at, let's just say West Orange.
Correct.
A typical day, how many patients do you think goes through your facility?
You mean currently?
Yeah, currently.
Well, currently, right now, we run at like 112, and that's mainly because of the testing apparatus we have. Most folks want to come to us to get the testing because it's pretty hard to get at the moment. We have the Abbott rapid test, which is one of the best rapid tests that we have, and Abbott don't make it anymore. So
really,
we got the last few that they actually made.
You stocked up on it.
Yeah.
So if it continues, where's your next delivery coming from? Would you have to go through another testing?
No. We set up with Abbott that we will keep kind of getting supplies and things of that nature, but they just don't make the machines anymore.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Mainly the hospitals have it. We're one of the few urgent cares that actually has the Abbott rapid machine, which is the most accurate of the rapid test.
So most hospitals have it, but not most urgent care. So
Correct.
You guys must be special.
Well, as you see the line.
I saw the line. I saw the line twice. Actually.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a monumental task, especially during a pandemic with no leadership, only from the state level.
It is.
were you guys on any kind of Zoom call with the governor or the governor's office or their?
No. We just basically followed the signs. We consult with the corporate offices in Alabama. The medical directors get together. They come up with a protocol and a plan forward, and that's basically how we maneuver that situation.
Wow. And I know you actually done protocols.
Yeah.
You've done a concussion protocol for Willie P, right?
Yes.
Anywhere else?
I've had input in other things, the boxing world.
We're gonna talk about that on the next segment.
Yeah.
Because I can see you smiling when we talk about boxing.
Yeah.
But the pandemic is just something that we've never lived through, and it's been almost 100 years.
Correct.
So from what I gather, a lot of the protocols that are being followed now were actually in place 100 years ago.
Correct.
The mask, social distancing. Was there anything other changes?
Well, actually, the thing that changed, it didn't change, and it should have changed, because I think it was Philadelphia and I believe St. Louis. I can't remember. It was two towns that had the stark difference. One shut down and one didn't. And I think it was Philadelphia that didn't shut down. And a lot of folks died, whereas it was St. Louis that actually shut down. I could have it reversed. That actually shut down, and the pandemic was flat. So that was our example right there. Unfortunately, with the leadership of the country, folks picking sides, and like Dr. Fauci said, the whole politicization of the situation just made it horrible. One of the problems we're having in the country right now with this pandemic is it's no congruency. It's just patchwork. And I was reading an article today, actually, about the difference between Washington State and South Dakota and Idaho, where Washington State followed the signs, followed the guidelines, and they were one of the first states hit with corona. Things flattened out. But Idaho, the neighboring, refused to have any type of mandate. They were having parties, concerts, bars, everything opening. And those folks who got the COVID fatigue migrated over to Idaho on that part of the state, which is close to Idaho. They migrated over, started partying, and they came back, they started dying again.
Really?
So, if you have one place that's following the guidelines, the other place that isn't, it's going to be an attraction to go to live your life again. And then you bring it back, and that state that had it in control starts to lose control. And that's what's happening with the incongruency of the national coordinated effort to stem this thing. As you notice here in the tri-state, New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York governors were all on the same page. And that's how things worked out well.
Right.
If we had something like that in the country, I think we'd be in a better position.
So you're basically saying that had the pandemic response team been in place,
a correct one,
nationally,
right,
we wouldn't have gotten to this point.
A correct and qualified one, but a leader. If you have a leader that's in Pennsylvania Avenue, that's, I believe, said it's your patriotic duty to wear your mask to help your fellow Americans. A lot of those folks who are against masks will be wearing a mask with scribbled, "I'm a patriot," red, white, and blue. That's the power of the
pulpit.
Yes.
Power of the pulpit.
And it wasn't used correctly, in my opinion.
It definitely wasn't. And then he had a couple of we're not even going to get on him. We're going to talk about you.
Yeah.
But he had some super spreader events as well.
Absolutely.
So that all contributed to it.
Correct.
And as we see, he actually put other people at risk, including the Secret Service agent. They never seen anything like it.
Right. So,
but back to doctors, AFC Urgent Care.
Yes.
About approximately how many staff does it take to staff AFC Urgent Care?
Well, in the beginning, it was for each shift, it was X-ray tech, 2 MAs, and a physician. Now the way things are, it's an X-ray tech, a medical receptionist, 3 MAs, a physician, and a physician assistant, just to handle the sheer volume of the situation right now.
Wow. So you had to put out. Did you have to, during the lull? Did you have to put out a call for more applicants?
During the low, you mean?
During the lull.
Yeah. Well, we never had a low personally.
Oh, really?
Actually, not. I mean, it came from a point. It went from seeing very sick people, very, very sick people during the lockdown. Then things started to abate in June, and we had a pretty good summer. Like, we would test folks, we'd be surprised if we get 1 or 2 a week that was positive. Now we're back to that March, April situation. But the one thing I could say that I noticed is different is the level of sickness is not the same. We're not getting those bilateral pneumonias as we know. We're just getting positive tests, folks with very mild symptoms, that sort of thing. That's what we're getting now. But it's still the volume of positive tests is still high.
Okay, outstanding. Listen, you're doing a hell of a job.
Thank you.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a brief break. We're here at 135 Prince Street, the Hub Life Radio. Russell Thomas Legends here with Dr. Avery Browne with an E. Get it right. We're gonna take a brief intermission. We'll be back in 3 minutes. And we're back here at 135 Prince Street, Arts and Therapy, here in the Hub Life Radio studio with Dr. Avery Browne with an E, Medical Director of Browne Medical, and the Medical Director, he's the owner of Browne Medical, and the Medical Director of AFC Urgent Care, located at West Orange, South Plainfield, Aberdeen, and Verona?
Cedar Grove.
Cedar Grove, oh my goodness. I'll get that right one time. I haven't been to Cedar Grove in years, so, you know, let's go to the pizza spot up there.
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah.
Ray's? Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep.
You know, it's suburbs. I ain't used to suburbs.
Yeah.
So, you know, last segment we were talking about the pandemic. We're going to finish up with that.
Mm-hmm.
So you were just saying that it doesn't seem that the pandemic seems to be hitting as hard right now.
The numbers are high.
Yeah, the numbers are high. With positive tests.
Yeah, the positive test. I'm not seeing in my office those who are positive, with the level of illness that I was seeing back in March and April and early May. Yeah.
So that's a positive sign.
It's a good sign.
It's a good sign.
But there's still, hospital admissions are still on the rise. I was reading a study that said although hospital admissions are on the rise, the ventilator use isn't. So that could be a positive as well. It also can be a sign that folks with pre-existing conditions are probably taking this thing more seriously than those who don't.
Along with the election.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, those who don't have the pre-existing conditions.
Okay, all right. So we wish you luck.
Thanks, bro.
We urge everybody to wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Practice social distancing.
Yeah.
If you now me and Abe actually like to go to Jimenez. I'm going to say it because I had an issue there, but Abe straightened it out.
Yeah.
We go smoke a good leaf,
Yeah.
or you can go see Sultan at the Green Leaf. But for right now, it's too constricted, so we have to wait. Jimenez actually has a patio.
Right. Once it's outdoors, it makes things a little bit better.
Yeah. You gotta be able to spread out a little bit more, and hopefully we can get through this and continue our normal life, because me and Dr. Browne was supposed to be going on a men's trip, a men's retreat to a secret location.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see if we can get Sonny and Avery, Sonny and Cliff and a few others, maybe Derek, to come and take that boat and just 3 or 4 days smoking cigars on the beach, relaxing.
Not in a rush.
Not in a rush, man, because I know you definitely deserve a break.
Oh yeah, appreciate that.
So let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
So I can't remember the year, but I remember we're gonna skip over, but there was an introduction made. You met Miss Carolyn Kelly Shabazz. And then what happened after that initial meeting?
Well, I want to take it a little step further back than that. You've been my right hand man, and I always talk to you about everything that's in my head.
Yes.
And I said, man, I was at the time, I had just finished my sports medicine fellowship, and I was at Montefiore, and I was doing a little sideline football game coverage and the athletics at William Patterson, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I said, man, I really want to be ringside boxing, because my dream was always to do that. I always wanted to be Dr. Freddie Pacheco. The guy used to hear him when Ali used to fight Dr. Freddie Pacheco. I said, I want to be that guy. And he was like, well, I got somebody for you to meet. And that's how I met Miss Shabazz.
Yeah.
And then, so I met Miss Shabazz, and she just took to me right away. Mm-hmm. Basically put me in a headlock.
And she don't take to a lot of people.
Yeah, and she said, I have a show, an amateur show at the Robert Treat, and you're going to be the doctor. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. All right. And it was, I'll never forget, it was New Jersey versus Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember. It was a whole lot of fights that night, and I was sitting at ringside, and I was like, wow, I made it through. And then the whole USA boxing in New Jersey kind of took to me. Mm-hmm. And then I started covering all their fights, and I eventually became the doctor for them. And then with that, I ran into Larry Hazard, the great Larry, the legendary Larry Hazard. He had a boxing gym over here, somewhere around here. And what's that? It's a community.
It was in not Academy Spires, Georgia King Village.
Yes. No. It was around here.
Clubhouse. The clubhouse. Yeah. Around the corner.
Yes.
Down the street. Yes.
And I did a show there, and I said to him, Taz, I would like to get back in the pros. And he said, what? And he wrote me a letter. Mm-hmm. And at the time, it didn't. He wrote me a letter. I made some inquiries to the commissioner at that time. Mm-hmm. Things didn't jive. And then, rest in peace, my man Ali. He was one of the referees that took me on like a younger brother.
He's on your page?
Yes. Okay. He passed away, unfortunately, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. He took me in as a young brother, and he said, listen, call this number in New York. And I called that number, and Brother Oscar King, he was the medical director of boxing for the New York State of Athletic. He brought me in, and I started working in New York. Then I made a presentation at a seminar, mm-hmm. and some of the New Jersey people was there, and that's when they put me down in New Jersey, and I started working AC as well as New York. So that's how I was able to be on both commissions.
So New York put you on first?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know, let me tell you, Dr. Browne has actually asked me, King, I got a show in Atlantic City, I got a show in Vegas, I'm like, I can't make it, I'm working this, that, and the third. But you've always been in the middle of stuff.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is, one night, there was a major fight. I don't remember the fight. You probably remember the fight. Mm-hmm. and the guy got knocked out, and I was half asleep.
Yeah.
And I woke up when the announcer goes, and we have Dr. Browne stepping into the ring, and I woke up saying, "Oh, that's Abe."
Yeah.
And I know all of Linwood probably just went crazy.
Yeah.
Because my man was on television in a major event.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Facebook blew up that night.
Your Facebook blew up, had to, because everybody, your Facebook and your phone.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first televised fight?
Yes. Yes. My first televised fight. Yes. Yes. Yeah, there's a televised fight, then there was a major televised fight.
Let's say major televised.
My first major televised fight was Triple G versus Curtis Stevens.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was in Triple G's corner.
Yeah, you Triple G's corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was at the Madison Square Garden.
I can't even pronounce it.
Gennady Golovkin.
Gennady Golovkin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Triple G.
Yeah.
It's just Triple G.
Yeah.
And then I know you've been to Barclays, and I'm a Nets fan, and I haven't even been to Barclays. You've invited me to Barclays. About how many times have you been to Barclays?
I just can't count, man. It's just it was quite a bit over the years.
Quite reoccurring. You have a reoccurring appearance there.
Yeah, that's one of my major venues. Yes.
And then Vegas.
I've been to Vegas at conferences, and I've been to fights, but I don't work fights in Vegas. I know all the guys know me because I didn't I don't have a license in Vegas, so I'm just there, and I go there to conferences, and we all. It's like a brotherhood. Ringside Physician, American Associated Ringside Physician. We're like a brotherhood. Some guys, have smaller venues in Kentucky, and there's the big three: New York, Vegas, and California, and everybody tend to clamor to us and that sort of thing. So we get together. Yeah.
So I remember a story. You went to, I want to say Mexico, and you were going for a conference, and when you got there, you found out you were presenting.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did that go?
Yeah, it went fine because basically I spoke about our protocol and what we do, and our revamp of post and pre-fight evaluation that was developed under Dr. Nitin Sethi, one of my good friends. We started in New York at the same time. Now he's the actual chief medical officer, and basically I just tell folks what we do and why we do it, and it makes sense. But sometimes, it makes too much sense where, again, you have business and science clashing.
Yes.
That's sometimes that happens.
Sometimes science and politics clash too. And
absolutely.
That's why we're in this predicament.
Yeah, yes.
Real quick, Janine Hazard, I know we're friends on Facebook. If you get the opportunity, could you tell your pops, Larry Hazard, that Dr. Browne says hi?
Yeah.
And Russell Thomas wants tickets. I want to be his next manager as well, so that we can get to the next spot.
Yeah.
I know Janine will answer up.
Yeah. Commissioner Hazard is a good man.
Commissioner Hazard always looked at. He's one of I met him through actually Sharp.
Yeah, he's a good man.
He always looks out.
He was a gym teacher in high school.
Oh, he was a gym teacher.
Yeah, a lot of folks tell me that.
Yeah.
Once they know I'm in the boxing world, Larry Hazard, and everybody got the stories, but they always been that he's a good man.
Yeah. Nothing bad to say about Mr. Hazard.
Yeah.
So you just do boxing?
Right now, yeah.
I remember there was a time when you was like, I'm only doing this, and then something happened, and you went on and said, you know what? I'm just gonna go in and watch the octagon or be a part of the octagon.
Oh well, yeah. The UFC thing, I didn't understand the sport. And when you have folks' lives in your hands, you got to know what you're doing, and that's just my philosophy. And things were just thrown on us. So you guys are doctors, you're ringside medicines, and you're certified ringside physicians. You're certified. You took the test, you passed, blah blah blah. So we had to figure it out. And I was a bit uncomfortable in the beginning because, again, like I said, I just didn't, have
different world.
Yeah, different world. Boxing, somebody goes down, everything stopped. No, that's just the beginning in that sport.
MMA is ground and pound. Get all you can.
Yeah. So, but you just take your basic knowledge of medicine with you, and your gut, and your common sense, and you start to develop. So, there's look, you gotta start doing some of these AFC fights. UFC fights. You gotta do the UFC fights. I'm like, okay. So, I started doing a few, and I got my feet wet and got comfortable doing it. Yeah.
Oh, and you found your niche.
Yeah.
But you prefer boxing?
I prefer boxing because I know the sport better. Okay.
Listen, I understand. So on the screen, I need for Adrian to put up shot number 3 with Dr. Browne leaning over and shaking somebody's hand.
That's what it.
Yeah. Does he look familiar?
Yeah. And the guy next to him is familiar too. That's Judge Mathis.
Oh yeah, Judge Mathis turned. He's like, I ain't supposed to be in Vegas. He covering up everything.
Actually, that was at the Barclays. It was at the Deontay Wilder. The other one, the fight.
The one before he lost.
No, this was 2 years ago when he fought. God, what was that guy's name? It's the Cuban guy.
Oh, the big dude.
Yeah. Okay. That was the first time Deontay knocked him out.
Okay. Yeah. So. Okay. So, and I think you told me the story. You were sitting ringside. You were actually doing doctor stuff.
Right.
And he leaned over. Or he had somebody tap you.
Yes.
What happened with that?
Yeah, it was in between fights, and I was just sitting ringside, and he was talking to someone that was sitting next to me, and then he said, "You don't want it," and then we looked around. We looked at each other, and we just clicked and shook each other's hands and had a brief conversation because I'm a big theater fan. And I told him, I'm a big August Wilson fan, and I saw all his plays, and he actually did a few, and we were talking about a few that I saw him in, and then that was right before him and Viola Davis came out with Fences. I saw them live, and that's what we were talking about because I saw them live do it, and I saw him do Julius Caesar as well.
Oh, see, I've never seen the Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
Really? How was he?
It was great. He's
Denzel, so he's supposed to be great.
Yeah.
So basically, great minds collaborate.
Correct.
Let me tell you something. I've been fortunate in life. We talk about how it takes a village to raise a child, but our village had a doctor, construction worker, an accountant for the city of Baltimore, a couple people in the service, a heavy construction operator, a longshoreman. So our village was tight, and we were fortunate in that time. We couldn't wait for summertime to come so we could play baseball on the street.
Yep.
We would go play football, and we would beat up on Long Street and Eli Place and Midland. And we were pretty good, but we all hung together and we were tight.
Right.
And I think we came up in the best time because there were no videos.
No.
We knew to come home by our street lights.
Yeah.
And we did whatever we did all day long.
Yeah. In the summertime, we would sit on each other's porch, listen to DJ Red Alert on boombox, crack jokes on each other, argue about who football team is the best, and that's basically was it. And that kept us out of trouble, And we were fortunate to know that our parents owned our homes, so no one could tell us, "Hey, get off the porch," because our parents knew where we were, and we grew up and we didn't fall to the wayside. We had different paths, but we stayed solid in what we come from, and I always believed that. I mean, I practiced medicine in rural Alaska. I was down in the jungles in Honduras, Nicaragua. I've been to Cuba. I've been to places, but even in Alaska, hey, that was something crazy.
Alaska, you had to fly in, and then you had to take a puddle jumper.
Yes.
And then something else.
Yeah, I took a little puddle jumper I was in what's called Dillingham, and that was in June, and that's there like 23 hours of daylight, and the 24th hour is just dusk, so there's no darkness, and that was driving me crazy. 2:00 in the afternoon looked just like 2:00 in the morning.
Really?
And then this guy would come, and I had to go to small Eskimo and Ute villages to take care of some folks out there. And he was my ride, and he was the mailman, and he was flying the plane. So I would jump in one seat with him, throw my bag in the back, and he's making stops at different islands and dropping me off. And it was something.
And you stayed each spot about a day?
Yeah. And it was funny because used to do some salmon fishing, and Stevie Wonder could catch salmon out there. That's how much is out there. And they used to say, "Hey, that's the guy with." I used to have my kangaroo on backwards. They say, "Hey, that's the doctor with the kangaroo hat." So, my point is, you never forget where you came from, and where you go, you got to bring a piece of that with you. Now's my Kango.
Oh man, we hadn't even talked about that part.
Yeah.
Now tell me about what was the most interesting thing about Honduras?
Honduras, sometimes in the medical field, even now, you get jaded. You really get jaded. And the best part about Honduras, it restored my faith in doctor-humanity relations. They really appreciated my help. And at the end of my stay, the women of the Red Cross had a big party for us. They touched our hands. They prayed on our hands. I mean, we had folks putting sick folks back in a pickup truck and driving miles just to come see the doctors from America.
And did you have to bring the medicine supplies with
you?
Yeah,
we brought medical supplies with us. We worked with what was there, and we turned a big cattle ranch into like a makeshift MASH unit. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really felt appreciated as a physician.
And you were the only doctor there?
No, it wasn't. No, I wasn't. No. It was a group of us.
When did you do? Because I know you went to Cuba. When did you do? Was that part of Doctors Without Walls or Without Borders?
Which one? Honduras.
Yeah, Honduras.
No. It was just a group of actually some doctors that we all that were actually from the different parts of the world, but we coordinated through the University of Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. We had some Canadians, we had some South Africans, we had some Europeans, but mainly Americans. Yeah.
Now tell me about Cuba.
Well, Cuba was just a trip that I went down to donate some supplies, and that was that, And I donated some supplies, and I got some supplies.
Yes. And I was a recipient of a couple of them supplies, so I'm not complaining.
Yes.
Any plans of going back?
Yes. Yeah, I would like to go back when the time permits, and but right now things are just
post-COVID.
Yeah, post-COVID. Yeah.
I remember you telling me how you would just the people there. They had less, but they were way happier.
Yes.
And the doctors hardly made any money.
No, yeah, the taxi driver can earn more than a physician.
Really?
Yeah, and I think that was the thing I find about the Cuban people. I don't want to get into politics of whatever, but the Cuban people, they tend to really admire knowledge and education
and appreciate life.
Yes.
You said the food was fantastic.
Yeah, the food was great. Yeah.
So you saying, if I was to go to Cuban Pete's, and whenever they open up, it wouldn't be nothing close to.
No, it's close enough, but it's different.
Okay,
it's different.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
What you went someplace else?
Those are my big threes.
Those are your big three. Okay, yeah. And I know you did little things. So tell me, you know about conferences like what 4 months in advance or 6 months in advance?
Yeah.
And then do you book or because I know there's certain certification you got to keep up with.
Yeah, CMEs. Yeah, we call them CMEs. Yes, continuing medical education credits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now there's nothing going on. The world is now seeing continuing medical education.
Yeah. You do most things online. Some are still virtual. To get you have to go to the conference and take a test at the end to get your credits or whatever. That sort of thing.
To keep your certification.
Yeah.
Now you're certified in New York, New Jersey.
Yes.
Any place else?
No, those I'm board certified.
So that means you can go anywhere.
I just have to apply for a license in 2 states that I have license: New York and New Jersey.
And that's Dr. Avery Browne with an E.
Yes.
Medical director of owner of Browne Medical and medical director of AFC Urgent Care. Yes. Right now we're at 135 Prince Street at Hub Life Radio. Mr. Hub actually left the building, but what we're going to do is we're going to talk to him about having maybe 30 minutes with Dr. Browne here, a little show just like I got Black Power. I get a sliver of Black Power's check because I brought it up. But with a CV, nobody gets your check but you, bro. I got to be honest with that. We're gonna take a brief intermission. We're gonna go to commercial. We'll be back in 3 minutes. 135 Prince Street, Legends with Russell Thomas here. We have Dr. Avery Browne with the E, Medical Director of AFC Urgent Care and owner of Browne Medical. So tell me.
Yeah.
If you go to Dr. Browne's page, he only puts up a little bit of pictures. Mm-hmm. I've seen some of the people you met. The legendary owner. I think now he has palsy.
Freddie Roach.
Freddie Roach.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of pictures you don't even put up. You don't even post.
Those are from back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you got Tyson. You got Evander Holyfield.
Yeah. I met those. They met them at conferences and stuff like that nature. Yeah.
Listen, they actually went and found you.
Yeah.
They was like, oh, another doctor that we can identify with.
De La Hoya.
Oscar De La Hoya. Yep.
Bernard Hopkins. He's a clown, man. I like Bernard.
X-Man is a mess.
Yeah.
He's a mess.
Yeah, he's a good dude, though.
Yeah, in excellent shape.
Yeah.
Speaking of excellent shape, what are some of the things that you think people in our community we don't do enough of?
Exercise. And I think when folks hear the word exercise, that means they gotta get in the gym and crank out hundreds of pounds of weight or get on the Stairmaster for 10 hours a day. No. Simple 30-minute walk 3 times a week can really improve your cardiovascular health. And that's the thing that kills us the most.
Cardiovascular?
Yeah. Maybe you can take that walk 2 blocks to the grocery store and carry it back like we used to do back in the day. Go into the ShopRite, something simple as that, and just watch the salt content. Everything in moderation.
Right, in the fried foods.
Yeah, everything in moderation. We just have to moderate, and not always think that bigger is better. Yeah,
it's interesting you said walk a few blocks. I don't know if your mother ever figured it out, but my mother was always wondering why I would never eat when she cooked. But at the time, we had McDonald's around the corner.
Yeah.
So, and we won't tell our age, but hamburgers and cheeseburgers was real cheap. So we was good.
Yeah.
We walk around the corner and, we'd have the bag and we walk back and literally it's a 7-minute walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, old habits die hard. And the ShopRite was around the corner.
Yeah.
The original ShopRite.
Yeah.
Before Brook Church Plaza.
Right.
I was on the book, and Bobby Whitlock started an argument with Dennis. I can't remember Dennis' last name. And about playing ball.
Right.
And we played baseball, football, but boxing wasn't on the list. I don't remember anybody having any boxing clubs.
No.
So what actually started you at a young age into the boxing?
I just, for some reason, I heard Muhammad Ali speak once, and I was a young kid at the Civic Center in East Orange, and he just mesmerized me. And every fight he had, he was my hero.
You was glued.
Yeah. And then my uncles came to the country, and then they liked boxing, and you know how it used to come on Friday nights? We used to watch it then and there, but again, I just loved Muhammad Ali so much for what he stood for. And I didn't realize what he stood for, but I just knew I liked him back then. Now you grow older, you understand when you look back and you understand what he was saying and what he was doing. But I always liked Muhammad Ali, and I always used to hear Dr. Freddie Pacheco, and I said, I want to be in Ali's corner like that. So that kind of fed into everything.
But notice, it wasn't until maybe right before, because Dr. Pacheco passed.
Yes.
It wasn't until a little before he passed they started showing him.
Yeah.
He wasn't exactly visually stimulating. He was made more for radio.
Yes.
That's the best way. But you, dude, you put on the tux.
Yeah.
You out there, people are throwing numbers at you and all that craziness and ringside, and you don't turn around.
No.
When I talk about humble dudes, I actually spoke when I had Wally here. He was humble.
Yes.
But listen, if people didn't know you,
yes,
they wouldn't realize that you were a doctor, a medical doctor.
Correct.
And that's not nothing about doctor philosophy, but just a medical doctor.
Correct.
So Adrian, when we go to places, what do I say?
I'll just say I'm Avery, and he'd be like, no. This is Dr. Avery Browne, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'll be like, don't he look familiar?
Yeah.
He's the guy that you seen when the dude got knocked out.
Yeah.
He was the one that jumped in the ring, and they look at him like, that is him. I'm like, see, I'm hanging with royalty.
Yeah.
And he just and Abe don't toot his own horn. Yeah. And like I said, when he told me, now I know how hard NJIT was,
right?
And he was like, yeah, I thought about it because the mother was in the medical field.
Yes.
And he was like, well, I think I want to go ahead and and go to medical school. And the only thing I heard was, oh man, I want to know a doctor. I don't know anything else he said after that. Yeah. And he had to remind me that he told me because I'm like, because I think, because you have a real storied work history too. Yeah. Because you used to work at Fortunoff.
Yes. When I was working at Fortunoff, I was going to NJIT, and that's how I was buying my books and stuff like that.
Listen, so your grind was real.
I had the bus pass for 2 years, and bus pass to take me to 34 down to NJIT, and then I would catch the city subway and then catch the 11 up to the wall and then catch the last bus home, and sometimes I would miss that connecting bus and have to walk across Wasseson Park back home. And I did that for about 2 straight years, and I saved $700 and bought that first Chevette.
That's right. Listen, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you, bro.
Thanks,
nothing but love,
appreciate
without
that.
a doubt.
Same here, bro.
And it's funny. I had Wally on earlier, and I have you here. And actually, you guys were supposed to be back to back.
Yeah.
And because of the pandemic, your work schedule was crazy.
Yeah, it's still crazy. Yeah.
And it's funny. Wally was trying to get somebody. He had a boxing exhibition, what is now the East Orange campus.
Yes.
So he sent me a text. Kent, just stop through and see everything. Well, me and you had already had a conversation that you were going to be working it.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'm going to be there. He goes, you're going to be there? I was like, yeah, Dr. Browne. He goes, oh, you know Dr. Browne? Oh, my goodness, that's my dude. Yeah, I said, me and Abe grew up together. Yeah. So he just started smiling. Yeah. So it's funny how life works.
Yeah. Wally's a good dude, man.
Wally's definitely a good dude.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, it's a blank wall here, but Mr. Hub himself, Mr. Al-Tariq who you met earlier, and found out you were a neighbor of way back then in the 90s. Yeah. There's going to be a sign here that says Legends. We're gonna actually have you come back before I forget. Have you come back and sign it. Okay. So this is my office, whatever day I'm taping.
Okay.
But your name will be up there, so legendary and everything, and maybe put your hand in the paint because you came in from the other way. There's another wall on the outside as you walk out.
Okay.
Where people stuck their hands in the wall and got paint.
Okay.
And we'll do that. But you're a doctor, so we got to keep your hands clean. Maybe put the gloves on or whatever.
We good.
Here at 135 Prince Street, that Hub Life Radio, Legends with Russell Thomas, we have Dr. Avery Browne, who's the medical director of AFC Urgent Care and the owner of Browne Medical. Tell me a little bit about Browne Medical.
Browne Medical is just a medical entity at the moment that basically contract with different insurance companies and things of that nature, and we work in conjunction with the AFC model, model. Yeah.
Now you hear how low he talks for that because I'm talking about himself. If we were talking boxing, Muhammad Ali, he'd be very eloquent and loud. Yeah. But that just shows you how his makeup is. It's just an honor and a pleasure because you help all of us out. Our friends, our friends, the people come say, yo, call Abe. And listen, I have a CDL, got to get that test. Yes. And Avery's the reason why I get that yearly test. Yeah. And other things, and we bounce things off of each other.
Absolutely.
Part of each other's tribe.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to.
You got to have that sounding board and everything else that we have going on.
Yeah.
And we really would like to have him here at the Hub doing 30 minutes. Now, a check, you shouldn't turn down a check. All money ain't good money, but this money's good. And as long as the grand is good, then you might as well get your little piece because you're going to have to start buying swimming equipment and trunks for the little guy, the 15-year-old. Doing so. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to be easy on yourself.
Yeah. We work it out.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll struggle through it. I'm sure. We want to have you. What we want to do is at some point in time, we want to have you back, and we can talk more extensively about boxing.
Sure.
But I just wanted to have you here because we started in October and it's December, and I know you was just so busy.
Yeah.
And you had some real harrowing experiences.
Yes.
So I just wanted to show that you was appreciated and loved.
Appreciate that, bro.
We have the L Block, Linwood. I got to give them a shout out. I'm gonna have you laughing. So I had a couple times I had car problems. So I have a regular mechanic and a side mechanic. Yeah. But I had Junior from Linwood with his truck. Now he looked out for me last because I had other stuff going on. and I would call him. He go, yo, you and Avery and Sonny, y'all was all big brothers.
Yeah.
So whatever you need, he had a little glass, had wine in it. And I was like, okay, well, you know, shout out. We always looked out for each other.
Yeah.
Here, Legends with Russell Thomas, 135 Prince Street. Dr. Avery Browne, owner of Browne Medical and medical director of AFC Urgent Care.
Yes.
We believe that we're making strides in the pandemic.
Yeah.
You heard from the good doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And you have any closing words? Anything you want to tell anybody? We got a little time, so no rush.
Yeah. I just just in life and anything, we have to be patient and diligent. And these guidelines are not just here to protect you, but to protect your fellow citizens and your loved ones. And the medical establishment don't always have all the answers, but we do our best, and we're working towards an answer to help mankind, because that's our oath.
Yeah. All right. Let me. I almost forgot to ask you. I was watching one of the news channels, and they were talking about the vaccine.
Right.
How far are we away from actual vaccine?
Actually, we're very close. Read today that the United Kingdom actually gave the Pfizer vaccine the emergency authorization to start use, so America will be right behind them.
Mm. Yeah. Do they go through the same protocols that we go through?
Yeah, it's the same protocol to develop the vaccine. They had a good solid amount of volunteers that ran the trials on worldwide, and also folks say, well, it's rushed, but we're in a pandemic, so things tend to have to move a little faster. The safety protocols, the safety measures, all that has been kind of pretty much worked out. Now, the only thing that I think is truncated in the vaccination study is the effectiveness of it. How long does it last? How long does it protect you? Those questions really don't get answered for another 18 to 20 months when you put folks out there and make sure that the vaccine actually works to protect them. Mm-hmm. That's the part that's been truncated because we just don't have that luxury right now.
Okay, so maybe in 6 months or so, will we have a better understanding of the vaccination?
You see, we probably be a little longer. Just to, you won't have that control group to go out there and test the longevity of it. You have mankind to do it now. So that's the difference that we deal with right now.
Quick trial and error.
Right.
I know vaccinations. I understand it's coming up, but I do understand that. I don't want to be the first one to get vaccinated.
Right. But that's it. I mean, I understand that, and that's a legitimate beef. But the thing is, you can't have it both ways. Yeah. Either you have to comply with ready to live with the compliance of wearing masks and social distancing, or see where the science take it to find a cure. You can't reject both. Okay. That's my whole situation.
Listen, I understand. Let me ask you, during the we got a couple minutes. Do you guys take walk-ups at the AFC Urgent Care?
Walk-ins, yes.
Walk-ins,
yes. But again, as you saw, the lines are double wrapped around the building by about 6:30 in the morning.
Joke is sitting out there reading newspapers from the day before.
Yeah. We had a couple. Things get a little testy, but if someone is actually sick, they don't have to wait in that queue for the COVID testing, because you don't want someone sitting in your parking lot with a ruptured appendix or having a heart attack or respiratory distress. That's what we take those individuals in right away. They're not part of the COVID queue. So if you're ill, an acute illness so that's serious, we tend to bring you in quickly and assess and manage the situation.
Okay. That's Dr. Avery Browne, Browne Medical Group, owner of Browne Medical, medical director of AFC Urgent Care. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having me, brother.
This is Legends with Russell Thomas, and we out of here.